Hello and welcome to Vlogmas Day 22, and here is the square from yesterday that was the tonal purple, so you can see it there. And now we are ready to draw some yarn. And this is a different shades of brown. It's called Wool Candy Meringue Merino Sock, and the color is gingerbread, which fits it. There you can see it. So that is today's yarn that will go in here, and I thought I would give you a tour today of the many lighthouses that I have. A little lighthouse obsessed. So we'll do a tour of the lighthouses that I have in my house. We are in my upstairs hallway, and this light here is the Portsmouth Harbor Light in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. This is the Doubling Point Range Lights. It's on the Kennebec River in Maine. The Kennebec River was known for shipbuilding in the up till the early 1800s. Or no, up until the early 1900s. And Bath, Maine has the Bath Iron Works, which is where they build naval destroyers. And that's also on the Kennebec River. This is the light from the Portland Headlight in Casco Bay. And we are filming this from a fort that's beside the lighthouse, kind of around the corner. And Dave had to get like 3 shots before he finally got it with the light flickering at the same time that he took the picture. This is in the port, or the harbor of Portland, and this is also in Maine. Most of my lighthouses are in Maine. And this is the Portland Breakwater Light, also called, it looks like a chess piece. And then not far from that is this one. This is called the Bug Light. This is the Spring Point Ledge Light, and this is also in Portland Harbor. And if you see in the picture, this right along here, a breakwater is a pile of stones that kind of help the harbor from getting rough waters into it. And you can actually walk out on that to where the light is, and you can actually walk around the light. And if you look closely in the picture, my ceiling light's in the way. Right there, you can see some people actually on it. This is the Pemaquid Point Lighthouse. This is the lighthouse that's on the back of the quarter for Maine. And it has some beautiful rock formations on the other side of this lighthouse. And it also has some of the area where the roughest surf is along the coast. We actually stay at a hotel probably about maybe 50 yards away from where this lighthouse is, and when you wake up in the morning you can hear the bells on the buoys out in the ocean ringing, so it's kind of neat. And this is also a lighthouse you can climb up into. Then I have a needlepoint lighthouse. This is supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be Cape Hatteras, but I'm not sure. But it was just a random needlepoint one that I did. It's actually cross stitch, not needlepoint. This is a closer view of that same little chess piece lighthouse. It's called the Portland Breakwater, and it does have, you can see kind of underneath my label here, you can see people standing on the actual breakwater. This is another lighthouse over on the Kennebec River. This one's not too far from Bath, just south of there. And this is that same picture of the one I said you could walk out to where there were people on it. This is that same lighthouse, but it's up close because you can see when I took this picture, I was standing on the breakwater. And this building right out here in the middle of the harbor, right here, is a Civil War fort that was built. It's called Fort Gorges. It was built to defend the harbor. And there's also some other forts in the Portland area. There's Fort Preble, which is not too far from where this lighthouse is. The most well-known lighthouse of Maine would be the Portland Headlight. But this is Ram Island Ledge Light, and it's actually about a quarter mile off of where the Portland Headlight is. And I'll show you the Portland Headlight. I have several pictures of it. But this is Ram Island Ledge Light. This is another breakwater light. This is in Rockland Harbor. And this lighthouse, you can actually see there is a man right here, because the day we took the pictures there was people working on it. It is on a breakwater that is almost a mile long that you can walk out into the harbor. And we walked all the way out there, and then I discovered there was no bathroom. And it was a desperate walk really, really fast to try to get back to land where I could find a restroom. But yeah, you can walk, lots of people walk all the way out here. It's like 7.8 miles, or 0.78 miles. It's just shy of a full mile to get out there. This is Owl's Head. It's not a tall lighthouse, but it sits kind of up on top of a cliff. And it's also part of Rockland Harbor. It's kind of across from the last one that I showed you. The day we were there, it was really, really foggy. We got up, walked around, and walked right back down again. It's in a really pretty park. It's about a quarter mile to walk through the park to get to where the lighthouse is. But because it was so foggy, the foghorns were going off, and we couldn't even see the harbor, but the foghorn from this is so loud that it really hurts your ears. And there's a neat story about this lighthouse in that in the, I believe it was the 1800s or early 1900s, there was a dog. I think his name was Spot. I'm not positive. But anyway, he was trained to ring the bell. They didn't have a foghorn at the time, to start ringing the bell whenever he would hear ships. And so he saved some people from, I guess, shipwrecks and stuff because he was ringing the bell. He's actually buried on the property. We saw the grave. Then I have some lighthouse knickknacks here. This actually lights up right here. My parents gave this to me. And then I have this, that's a lighthouse. And then my mother colored a picture here with a lighthouse. And then I have a Bible verse with a lighthouse. And then over here, this is Sunken Rock Light. This is in the St. Lawrence River in New York, not too far from the Canadian border. And this one is Cape Nettic, which is also in Maine. And it's like this little island that sits a few yards off the mainland. I'm standing on the mainland, and that's the little island across the way. They decorate it at Christmas time. They outline the entire lighthouse and the house and the fence. And in the 1930s, there was children still living on the island with their parents who were the light keeper. And the child to go to school was actually riding, there was a cable between the island and the mainland that they would send the mail across to them, and the kid would ride the cable, the mail bag, across the little inlet there to go to school. Now this is a big picture of the Portland Headlight. It's, like I said, the most photographed lighthouse on the East Coast. And when I showed you when I showed you Ram Island Ledge Light, it's kind of, let's see if I can spot it for. It kind of sits like out in here. It's off the front of the lighthouse, off in here. Then we have this lighthouse here. This is Dice Head Light. This is on the way down to Castine. It's also in Maine. It's on the Penobscot Bay. And then up here is I think it's Burnt Coat Island Light or Burnt Island Light. It sits in the harbor of Booth Bay. And Booth Bay, if you're familiar with the musical Carousel, it was actually filmed in Booth Bay. And they actually run educational programs and things at this lighthouse. I showed you Pemaquid Island, or Pemaquid Point earlier from the other side. This is the side. Right below this picture are a bunch of rocks. I'm actually standing on it to take the photograph. But this is Pemaquid Point Lighthouse. It's one of my favorites. And this one again is the Portland Headlight. We are actually on the water in this picture. We took a tour of the harbor. So Ram Island Ledge Light is right behind me when I was taking this picture, and this looking straight on from a water view of the lighthouse. And this is a painting we got when we were up in Maine one time. And I don't think there's a lighthouse in this picture. There isn't another one that we got. And then this here, let's see if I can zoom in so you can see it. This is Bass Harbor Light. And the lighthouse is right there. And then right next to it is again another picture of the Portland Headlight from another angle. And I actually have lighthouses in my bathroom. This is another cross stitch that I did. And then I have two lighthouses here. The black and white one is a candle, and the little clear one is actually a Christmas ornament. It does play Silent Night. Then I have a towel that has lighthouses on it. And these are also some needlepoint or cross stitch that I did of lighthouses. Dave got me a bunch of lighthouse kits a few years back when we first moved in here. And then he also got me a lighthouse latch hook rug that hangs on the wall. This is the other picture that we got in Bar Harbor at a painting place, and you can see it has a lighthouse in it. And then this is another cross stitch that I did. Actually, the next two are cross stitches. There's one here as well. That is a cross stitch. And then our daughter got us this. This is Cape Hatteras in North Carolina.